The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
Good morning, friends, and how are you guys doing out there in the land of the internet? Hopefully you made it here on time, and this picture is not me, but that's okay. We can fix that. How's it going, and what do you guys got going on today? Hopefully your day is glorious, and hopefully you have a great start to it. Maybe, just maybe, we can help you. You know, I got started this morning, and I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. My first thought was, man, I'm not with it. I don't feel with it. I feel kind of tired. So I thought maybe I would share a moment with you guys. And, you know, sometimes you have to think about these moments. A moment in time can be a little bit of everything. And when I say a moment in time can be everything, I mean it can be everything. Some of the things that we do, some of the things we're a part of, some of the things that we inherently push are things that sometimes don't make sense to people. So for me today, it's nothing more than just a little bit of hello and how you guys doing. We're going to have a little bit of talk, maybe a little makeup. I mean it. We're really going to throw out some stuff today. You know, when I do these shows are 55 minutes of an improv, the whole thing that we get to do together. Sometimes we share it together, sometimes we don't. But today, we're going to get started. We're going to get this show on the road. So thank you for joining me this fine morning. Let's have some fun. Have you had a normal get going today? Did you get your coffee going? Or maybe you got up and had a bong hit this morning. Or just maybe you didn't. Maybe you got up and you were in such a hurry because life is, well, inherently what life is. And you had to deal with it. Maybe you had to deal with your ex-husband. Or maybe you had to deal with your ex-wife. There's something that we all need to work on, and that's that word dealing with. You know, we can deal with whatever we want. We can walk through life blindfold on. The problem is it gets kind of dark. We end up stubbing our toe on everything. So realistically, we have to ask questions. Some of the questions that I like to ask my friends are simple. What's the meaning of life? Is it life? Yeah, it's stuff. Right. No, I'm not. I'm messing with you guys. The whole thing is sometimes you do have to ask these questions. You have to ask the where and the when, the important questions. And for me today, it's all about the important questions. You know, I got up feeling a little lost, feeling a little out of sync. So I ended up partying a little early in the morning, and went back to sleep. And it made it rough because I'm having a hard time. Well, I wasn't prepared for this, so I thought, what the best way to do when you're not prepared is go ahead first.
Hey, hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyndinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Hold it in, feel it in your wrist.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Check us out in Tyndinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyndinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga. That's right. Commercial breaks. They're important. We got to do them whether you like it or not. Sometimes they do pay the bills. Sometimes they're just there because we want to have people feel like they're people. I don't know. You know what? I think it's a thing. I don't do commercial breaks on my show only because I don't have the commercial power to do so. But here on the NOK, I have a few things I have to do, and that is definitely let you guys know that you are aboard the NOK. You're with a whole bunch of really cool, talented people. You're with a bunch of people that want to get a message out there. You can find this message, whatever that message may be. You can get a little bit of puppet time. You can get a little bit of a conspiracy talk. You can get a little bit of drug talk, life talk, love talk, different talk. And the thing is that it's different talk because it is from a different part of the nation. It is in Canada, so people have a different opinion than you and I, which is pretty darn cool. Now, the problem with this whole commercial thing is that sometimes commercials are inherently the power that is being, meaning they're the way that the shows are covered, at least in Hollywood. You're getting coverage by having a commercial, so you can take time to get people to know your product. Now, it's pretty cool, especially when you have that product to do so. We're here. We're just a bunch of stoners hanging out, and welcome aboard. But it's definitely a thing. It's a 10-12 here in the Southwest. That is Tombstone, Arizona. Yeah, that's right. It is 10-12. I haven't had my coffee yet, so when I do take a break, we're going to get some coffee so we can woo. But, oh well. See, I didn't even get my woohoo out straight because I'm so coffeeless right now. But I will take care of that. We'll go in there, get me some coffee, get me something to get me through that moment. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't really matter, though, because there are other things to still have to take care of. I know. You're thinking, like what? Oh my goodness, did you make it back? Of course you made it back. You caught yourself watching it and thinking, wow, that's a lot of smoking utensils. Wow, that was That's a lot. Well, if you want to go shopping there and you're in the area, please do go check it out and see if they got exactly what you're looking for. A lot of times, I think when you're smoking, we find what catches our eyes. You go into a shop, you're like, oh, I love that blue thing, or oh, that green thing's cool, or oh, I've never seen that have a swipe back before, or whoa, that's cool, that's a smoke freezer. And the whole idea is that when you go into these places, this is what gets us to initially buy this product, right? Now, if the product looks cool and has a great marketing, there we go. We're right back to that same thing again, right? If you have good marketing, then it's probably a really good thing. Whew. Well, now that we're sitting here talking about that, let's talk about that marketing thing we want to talk about. Go ahead. I give you this.
Tune in daily to NOK's diverse podcasting lineup. Ganja News Update, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Tara Simpson and Ron McNabb. Wake Up with the Wayniac, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific with Tombstoner Wayne Cruz. Grow 420, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern with the Forgetful Stoner Ron McNabb. Psychedelic Reporters, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Hobbies Puppets and Tara Simpson. Peace, News and Views, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Kim Cooper and Sir Steve-O. Open Your Eye, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Kim Cooper and Tara Simpson. Followed by Thursday Night Vibes, 9:15 Eastern with Master and Mama Roach. Cannabis and Crime, Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Christine Terra from Machete Cat Productions. The IWK 710 Daily Set airs nightly, 7 days a week, with international rotating joint hosts, 7 p.m. Eastern. Rise and shine, it's marijuana time. Wake and bake with Ron McNabb at 7 a.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Thanks for tuning in to all the podcasting on NOK Network.
Well. That's pretty cool, huh? You got to see it right there. If any of that stuff looks like what you want to see, you definitely can see it here on the NOK and the IWK. Definitely check it out. Maybe there's something that you'll enjoy. You know, I think what happens is we will go looking for things, right? Today's journey is a whole treasure hunt. Yeah, times can definitely be hard. And if you're not prepping for yourself or prepping for the future, it can be very difficult. It's like most stories that you hear time and time again. The struggle between life, the struggle between not wanting to be somewhere. This story goes back just a little while. It goes back to a different time. A different time, outlaws were outlaws, cowboys were cowboys. When the Wild West was absolutely untamed, unbridled, magical, and wild. Well, at that time, you had road shows. You had Buffalo Bill Cody, Wild Man Bennett. You had the Apache Nation that had a whole show. These people were going across the nation, show culture, give America the heartbeat that it needed. As we step back in time, we start to realize that life of a cowboy is nothing more than a working stick. Man with a dream. You might even have a pair of working gloves. Look, this is the story. Thanks for joining. It was a cold October morning. Nothing seemed right. There was a chill in the air that made things just a little off. And I don't mean awkward as the point of not able to take care of your
With
business.
new McValue at McDonald's.
But the way that most men would work. Our story will take place with a young man with a dream. Oh, he's more than just a gun. He'll become a famous outlaw one day. But till then, I guess the story will have to take place elsewhere. That cold October morning, Hiram Ross ended up leaving his home, starting a new life. Not as a gunfighter or an outlaw, but as a solitary man on the range trying to make a difference. With hunger, wild animals, indigenous Indian, made it very difficult for him. But he found a place that's very sacred to him. This little place is famous. It's called Whiskey Flats. Then a little later, it changed its name. But it's not about its name right now. More about power of Whiskey Flats. Whiskey Flats is that place where men would go to work claim, maybe get silver, maybe make it rich. Problem with it was there were other folks that thought they do it. Hiram was definitely not above it or below it. He had friends in the railroad. He also had friends that worked a hard, troublous life. One of them was a feller named Squirrely Bill. Squirrely Bill and Hiram decided they're going to run southwest, leaving the gang life behind, leaving the outlaw world behind. Own, and I mean own, start a new life. The life of train robbery wasn't perfect, but it did happen after a while. The idea of opening up Arbuckles and start moving things around and selling coffee and selling clothes to folks sounded all nice. The problem was Hiram wanted more. He fancied himself a gunfighter, but the problem was he never had any efficient gunfights under his belt. But he fancied himself as one. It was that October that things had changed for Hiram. They had jumped on the train going southbound, grabbing a hold of the rails, slipping on board, climbing off the stagecoach. The train is jostling back and forth. Conductor, he was a jelly fellow. I think jelly because he was more rolled than anything else. He realized that Hiram had jumped on the train. One turn, he had said, "I'll call the informants, good sir." Well, needless to say, the man can't fly because he was thrown off the moving train somewhere around Mexico. Squirrely Bill spent time there in the cargo container because he found some wine that he broke into. These two were going to hell real quick. They heard there was a Martian manic in town that had no heart for this sort of thing. So Hiram, being the outstanding gunfighter he is, Squirrely Bill being his compadre in trouble, they decided that they were going to make sure that this marshal had no say-so. Now, y'all need to remember, gunfighter was not always the gentleman and scholar that we're aware of these days. Gunfighter wasn't a man with a beard, assault rifle, bodyguard. Gunfighter was a solemn man or woman with an iron in their side, maybe even stuck in their belly. I digress. But as a gunfighter, Hiram knew that they would be killed if they stopped in Mexico. this point, they were still looking for Billy the Kid. Problem is, people are now saying Billy the Kid maybe he's dead. Changed his name to Brushy Bill and ended up moving into South Tucson. Moved back into Mexico for a little while. Finally, around somewhere in the 80s, he ended up coming out in public telling that Brushy Bill was,
all the way here to Tombstone, and they seem they got my here sign. Politicians. What are more than politicians? More than overpaid jerks and tight suits. I couldn't fit into a suit. A little hot during the summertime. And especially, my spurs look a little funny in them. What? Get out of here! Get out of here!
Bet you thought I left, didn't you? At this point, you figured that this story was over. It had no meaning. Two gentlemen got on a train and drank themselves to oblivion, throwing a conductor overboard. No. There is a whole lot more to this tale. But you need to be patient. And patience is one of them things that Hiram didn't quite have. See, as a gunfighter, Hiram had this notion that he should be famous, that people should fear him. That if he was the fastest, meanest hombre in the Southwest, that ultimately he could strike the fear of men and women. You have to realize that the Southwest was quite different. It was lawless. It was violent. It was definitely held down by the folks who will die. Well, it seemed about the time in October there was a small problem. After the train heist, they were silent for a little while. Around somewhere in November, I believe, ended up making themselves to Huachuca City. Boy, what a strange endeavor. Huachuca City was the place where soldiers lived. The gunfighters really existed. Hiram knew it would be a dangerous territory there. But with Squirrely Bill by his side, he knew all they had to do was ride in with a smile on. People would understand. That's not how it went. The city of Huachuca was famous for things. The heat, its margaritas, wild nightlife. The wild nightlife was quite dangerous. Town, 800 people, 30 bars. Boy, you can imagine what goes on. Hiram made a discussion with her Squirrely Bill, the first hombre that came up trying to get crazy with him. He would show him his ways of praying. Didn't quite work out. See, they ended up meeting a man by the name of Peter McKinley, a little Irish feller. This Peter McKinley there had a patch of things. He had himself a Model T, actual automobile. That's right. Came in one color, black. Well, Peter says in that fine Irish way, "Well, it's a tough day to you there, sir, and maybe you'd like to take it out for a ride." Hiram was just confused because this feller speaks strange to him. Not entirely sure why or what. Well, they get on that Model T and they start her up. They decided to go for a stroll. About halfway through the stroll, Mr. McKinley found out that he don't fly as well. Flying out of a Model T car at 25 miles is a little easier than flying out of a train. But I digress once again. On the petrol that they had in this little car, automobile, I can say, they didn't make it very far. Made over one community over, Huachuca, not Bradley. Now, we're not entirely sure why Bradley came to the place that they came. There's a place in Desperado, hidden outlaws, vagabonds of tomorrow, as we could say. It was there that your friend got a new nickname. They were sitting in the bar called 888, Squirrely Bill and Hiram, when a feller came in saying that he was the fastest hombre of Huachuca City and Bradley. They guaranteed outshoot, outdraw, outbark, outbuck, outfist any outlaw in this known land. Hiram decided that he had to teach the boy a lesson. Well, by the way, he was a little under the weather, drinking that rot gut. He looked this feller in the face and said, well, I does believe that I can whoop you in a gunfight with the left hand with the right hand tied behind my back with the blindfold over myself. Before the young man could say anything, Hiram whipped out the fist and shot him 3 times, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. They call that a double. The boy fell to the ground like a lump of potatoes. Didn't even know it hit him. He bled out like a water full of water. Hiram knew at that point he was in trouble. At this point, Bell knew it was the outlaw name left. He carried that name on for another 25 years at least. Robbing, running, being an outlaw. Thing is, it wasn't always so easy. Somewhere along the line, Squirrely Bill decided that the outlaw life was not quite what he was imagining. It became hard work. It became lonely. And Squirrely Bill decided he wanted to reside somewhere in Arizona. He wanted to have a family with that wife, Kofifi, whatever she called. And most of them times we have to ask, why must one make a decision so peacefully? Why must we not let the winds of change carry us? Inherently so. The winds of change are dangerous. Somewhere around December, Christmas time, Hiram came into a small town. They finally realized that maybe he had found paradise. Women and children playing, folks working in the fields, people building real estate. Hiram realized at that point he must have been in paradise. He must have been in the one and only place that actually mattered. He ended up settling down for a little while. Wasn't for at least 3 months. That put it around February time. That's when the state board sent out marshals after him because of the problem that happened to Huachuca. Also, what happened with Mr. Ellenworth. He knew he couldn't run anymore, but he knew he didn't want to fight. So he decided the smartest and the best way would get himself a few other hombres that were just as mean and nasty as him, join up with him. They could make paradise more like a living hell, at least for some. But I digress. That's definitely another tale of the story. Thought you'd left. Thought y'all got bored. I'm glad you did. Because the story's not quite over yet, but we did have to take a moment, step back, let you guys have your moment. Because I know it can be a bit much, all this excitement. I know. Well, this morning you guys are hearing the story of, that's right, Hiram Cross. I digress. Let's carry on, please. Fast forward quite a while. At this point, Squirrely Bill ended up writing a book. The Annals of Gunfighter. He sold them at 5 and dime stores across the nation. With one of them entitled, "An Outlaw is Always Sure to Win." Bro, that ain't true. There are plenty of outlaws that ran with Hiram and Squirrely Bill, but the rest of their souls in peace. They're not with us anymore. Whether it's from old age, gunfighting, or just plain and simple getting married, life of a gunfighter is a horrible thing. It's not easy. It's not simple. Very tried, full of particularities that make one enumerate the times and the fires in which we must integrize our thoughts. These are things that didn't happen much later in time. Lefty ended up running around and being an outlaw for a bit more. About 27 banks. The Ackerman train. Most people don't talk about it. The Ackerman train robbery was a full-on mistake. Lefty was part of it. They moved on to the Christmas robberies. That's right. Santa Claus got robbed. Didn't have enough presents to bring in town. They blamed that one on Lefty. Eventually, it became a worldwide depression. Lefty lost his friend. When an outlaw decides he's going to sell powers of gunfights for his personal sanity, he must hold back the endeavors of time and realize that most people won't understand. There is not a clear picture between the good guy and the bad guy, the rancher, or even the modern day whore. Lefty decided that with life of crime, he would settle it by going out with a bang. The problem is, it didn't quite end that way. He ended up getting into silent pictures, those movie things. And he ended up working with a few fellers that he enjoyed. One of them is Mr. Chaplin, Charlie Chaplin, I think it is. Yes, Charles Chaplin. He was one of them jello men in Hollywood. They ended up putting Hiram to work. Asked him if he could fall off a horse, or maybe he could ride a stagecoach. Little thing is, didn't know that he would be a endeavored person to the powers of the movie industry. Times turn the century. For most folks, outlawing becomes old. Your back ain't got it. Your fingers ain't got it no more. And you ain't used to cut like you could. Lefty knew this. He thought he'd reach out to his good friend Curly Bill because, well, Squirrely Bill had written that there 5 and dime novel. He was curious just what his old friend was doing. Probably not robbing banks no more. Probably not robbing stagecoaches as well. There ain't. Most of the time, between the two of them, they'd find it more integritizing that bold beverage and sit and pontificate the powers of the universe. All with the porch. I'm sure most of you Probably have someone in your life that's close to you that's done some questionable things. Maybe you got an outlaw. Maybe you got an animal in the house. The whole point is you need to treat yourself with love and respect. Because it all comes to an end real soon. That's right, guys. If you guys don't get it and you're not sure and you're not entirely ready for it, welcome in. Let's hang out for a moment. We're going to take a little pause right here. Hopefully you know what that ding, ding, ding is for. That's right. It's for a smoke break that you guys deserve. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, what do you mean I deserve? I've been smoking this whole damn time. Well, if you have, that's a good one for you. And if you haven't, thanks for joining me here on the NOK this morning. Thanks for hanging out with me and waking up with the Wayniac. I do have a few more things for your listening and viewing pleasure.
Advertising space available at NOK. Contact us for a rate sheet at knocknetwork.com. Send us a message on our social media platforms or email us at info@noknetwork.com.
I know, right? Sometimes the most important things are those things that we just get a part of what we're doing. You know, every time I get up every day, I start to think about where I'm at, what I'm doing in life. I always have to ask myself if I've done the right thing. The right thing is purely the message that I want to send today. Guys, I hope you do the right thing too. We're not done, but we're just getting through some of the parameters that we have to get through.
Are you a Northern Ontario resident searching for credible information on cannabis as a medicine? No Sir is here to help. Established in 2013, Northern Ontario Cannabis Education and Resources is here for you. No Sir Director Kim Cooper brings you 45 plus years experience utilizing cannabis as a medicine, and she is spreading that education across the North. Activism, referrals, resources, and more at No Sir. Don't be a jackass. Say no, sir, to propaganda with No Sir. Find them at www.nocer.ca.
Well, good morning, and I hope you just are fine. If you just got here, we're hanging out, having a little bit of smoke, a little bit of hang out, a little bit of story time, a little bit of shoot the shit, and I hope everything's good for you this day. Hopefully you got out there and shot the shit as well. Hopefully you did everything you had to do. Hopefully you stood in line at the market, maybe not. Maybe you had lunch, maybe you had dinner. I don't really know. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't care. What I care about most is that you, me, and everyone else have a safe voyage. Now, when I say safe voyage, I hope that your voyage is good today. I hope that you are not left alone, or maybe you're not out there questioning this thing called the voyage. Hopefully you're going somewhere and you're sharing it with somebody. If you're not, thank you for sitting. A little too much there. Thank you for sitting with me and hanging out. I do appreciate it, guys. All right, then. Well, it's that time. No time like the present. Let's go back in time a little bit more for you. Thanks for joining me once again, guys. I hope you had your smoke.
Mifa's down 10%?
Yeah, not yet. Had a commercial break trying to kill me right here. How in the hell does this happen? Why does it happen? You know, what a day. Yesterday was a different day, and then the day before that was a different day. And when I say by different, I mean different is like, okay, that's different. You see people doing some stuff that's questionable. You hear people doing some stuff that's questionable. And then people wonder why. I would just rather do what I do and, do imagination time. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Let's get back to this. it seems that we got a little wonkiness going on here. Interesting this fine morning. Oh, well, we can carry on. Its Power's endeavor started. And Hiram knew exactly what he had to do. Change the line. The world of Outlaw had been a bit crazy. He wasn't entirely sure where they was to go. So he packed up everything in. And he went looking for Squirrely Bill. He found Squirrely Bill living in Los Angeles, a small little apartment above downtown Los Angeles amongst the famous particular folk. He became a writer, gave up the world of outlaw, gave up the world of living vicarious. He ain't there, telling the story that would help propel people into the next life. When Lefty came to the door and knocked, he was surprised. He came to the door, looked at the people, like, damn. Came back from the grave and found. They sat and had cups of coffee, talking about the integrities, problems of which the world had been facing. It did seem that nuns were becoming indignant different, but they decided the coffee and the smiles were the one thing that were needed. It was then Lefty shook his hand. Old Squirrely Bill. Well, old friend, you will always be dear to my heart, even if you ride a shitty storm. And he walked out and he left, never to be seen again. But somewhere about a year later came out Troubles of a Troubled Gunfighter, the annals of Lefty Hiram Ross. He wrote this story, telling about the times of the gunfights, train robberies. Just plain and simple, some of the wild times they had together. It didn't do well at first because the New Age folks weren't really into the five and dime stories anymore. They were moving into bigger and better things. But it wasn't until later that the imagination of the young feller caught on. He wanted to bring Lefty back to life. Turn around as a wild, gun-toting outlaw. I'd like to introduce myself to y'all. My name's Charles Hiram Lefty Ross. I live in Tombstone, Arizona. I'm a wanted outlaw. And you can see my show every day. Don't know it. Guys, Lefty has been an endearing character that I've been playing for about 8 years now. From fair to fair, Renaissance fair, cowboy and bear, and place to place. Lefty's an amalgamation of so many people I've met in my life. But it's an entertaining character that I like to bring out. Now, this is an alternate reality that I've been telling you, an alternate fiction reality. So none of this has been anywhere true, factional, fictional, or anything close to it. It has just been that, a story to occupy your time, occupy your ears, maybe help you through your lunch break, or maybe just give you a little giggle. I've had fun hanging out with you guys today, and I do. Oh, you know what that means. Get your smoke on, guys. That's right. It's bong hit time. That's right. It's bong hit time. daily sessions with Keeping It Green on the private Facebook account, Keeping It Green. Nightly sessions with Wayne Cruz on the Keeping It Green. Thanks for joining, y'all. Well, thank you for waking up at the Wayniac and hanging out with me this fine morning. I got some viewers in here. Thank you so much. We got some reactions from you guys. Thank you so very much. You know, I couldn't be doing this and I wouldn't be doing this without you guys, without your help, without the love and the support that I get from the NOK and from other folks. You know, there are so many different talented folks on the NOK. You can virtually get anything that you want from it. So hopefully you check in tonight and see exactly what's going on. And even this afternoon behind me, there's going to be a little bit going with, I believe it's Ron McNabb this afternoon, I want to say. Oh, but I didn't check the schedule, so I could be wrong. Sue me. Don't sue me because you're not going to get a whole lot. Well, we've been in here for 47 minutes telling you a little bit of a tale, and our tale is not over. Maybe the tale is over, but everything in between is not. I've been having a great time hanging out with you guys this morning, this fine day. Oh, man, it is glorious outside today. I think I'm going to go take care of some business. I'll actually go down and talk to some gentlemen about some gun fighting of all things. I know, right? You thought I was joking, didn't you? Well, as always, when things come to an end, you got to remember the best part about carrying them up and picking them up is actually picking up the pieces and carrying on. Thank you so very much for this. Now, I can let you guys hear it. I can let you guys know it. But the thing is, it's up to you to do it. So when you're out there today, give a smile to a friend. Say hello to a neighbor. Maybe kick someone in the shins. No, don't kick them in the shins. That's rude. I got comments down there in the bottom, but to be honest with you, it's probably about like this big. I can't read them. So I'm going to act like those comments are cool. I'm going to act like I know what those comments say. I'll even get down here and tell you what those comments say. I found them, guys. I found the comments. Ron and Hobbies and the Psychedelic Reporters are at 8 o'clock. Janine in Brussels, sesh at 7. All right, there you go, guys. You got that? Cheap views on. Oh, wow. I even got someone in here trying to shop their bullshit to me. Well, shopping your bullshit to me is definitely not the way to go, because I will tell you this, it don't work. Whoever you are, spammer, you know it. All right, well, back to what we were talking about before we got so rudely interrupted with comments. All right. Once again, like I said to you guys, you know, it's wild. You know, the weather has been weird. We've been dealing with the monsoons. We've been dealing with this torrential rain. One day we'll be raining like mad, thunder and lightning. Then the next day we're hot as Hades. Then you turn around and the next day you got the wind and the rain, and then you're hot as Hades. Speaking of Hades, it's always hot. It's hot here in Arizona. Holy shit, it's hot. All right, you heard me say it. Now that you know it's hot, you heard the powers of Hades come out of me right there. Now that I'm done with that, I won't do that again because that takes so much from my colon. From my semicolon or my full colon or my erectile colon. You get my point. Once again, the nonsense never stops with me and it never stops with you. You know, big thing I noticed this morning, I watched a friend go live very early this morning, and I was watching my friend go through a moment, and I realized that moment was so very close to the moment that I went through. And all I want to do is reach out to her today and let her know how much I think she matters and how important I think what she's doing. You know, let's just take a moment and think about all the people who do all the hard work for us. Can you do that? No, I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking about the people who are doing the hard work out there. And that moment that you guys are taking is the moment that we all needed. My God, I got to tell you guys, thank you so very much for joining me and hanging out with me this fine day, because, you know, it's never over until it's really over.
Birdcage Theater. That's right, the Birdcage Theater, Tombstone, Arizona. This little building showed up in 1881, and they showed the acts of all the troubadours from across the United States. All the way from Shakespeare, all the way to the dancing girls. There's a reason they call it the Birdcage, after all. Some of the finest deals were made here in this here building. Some while playing poker, others while watching the ladies of the night. Birdcage Theater, Tombstone, Arizona. What you're looking at right here is the 1827 one and only made Starlight Concrete, or actually made right here out of original Kobe chain. This here is one of the one and only 2-speed, 2-cycle, get your laundry done. Hot, spun, wring out and done, string it up on the line, and just like that, you're clean. Hell no, you couldn't catch hands like that. I'd break up and sweat and start getting swamp ass. And then suddenly you're wondering, what happened? And then I got to give my lock. I digress. Y'all should come out and just see the way the pictures on here. And it was sad that Big Nose Kate herself, yes, that fine Romanian lady with the big mouth, she hung out here. Could you imagine while she's doing her laundry? I find on the good note that he was, get out of here with your once again, I digress. Remember, there's a fine line between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Good day, y'all. God bless and pass the ammo.
I appreciate you guys joining me this morning, and I appreciate you guys joining me every Tuesday to wake up with the Wayniac. You know, maybe you're not waking up. Maybe you've already done things. Maybe you've already been a part of your day, and this is just a little nonsense that will fill your void in between. Thank you so very much for being a part of it, guys, because without you, I would quite literally be sitting up here alone. Not that I'm not, because I am. You know, I got the comments down there. We'll go back there. We'll check comments. I'll make sure to make my little comment roster, get in there with that, send them out there for you guys. Let everybody know exactly that I appreciate you, exactly your words that you've been doing to help me out. You know what? It seems like it's the end of the day, guys. This story has finally met its match. We're coming to an end. Thank you so very much for hanging out with myself here on the NOK. And guys, always remember, you know what? You deserve more. Get out of here. Be good yourself.
What we have here, the GSX 7775. It reaches speeds beyond all magnificent speeds. It will get you to Night City in no time at all. That's right, if you order now. But just wait, there's a whole lot more.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. Get out of here.